Hi and welcome to day 45 of my 112-day-long winter Grindset program. Today I did the final taekwondo session of the entire year. I had a great session, but I almost pulled my hamstring and I was completely crushed in my entire body, especially in my hip flexors, which really showed on the pistol squats. They were not only difficult, I actually got cramps on every single rep today on the pistol squats since I did the taekwondo training beforehand. So today it wasn't enough to go to work. I went to work, finished work early so that I could train, and then after training I trained. So I did a double training today, both taekwondo and of course in taekwondo practice we do push-ups, we do kicks and punches and roll around on the floor and do a bunch of fun stuff and difficult things. So you're really exhausted when you finish that and doing that and then doing a proper session afterwards. Wasn't really feeling it today, obviously, but I did it anyway because it's necessary and I will follow the program, because the fact of the matter is training every day, probably 80% of the days you don't want to train. That's just the reality of it. So if you listen to your body, you're not going to train basically at all. You're going to train 2 or 3 times a week. Skipping workouts because you feel like it really isn't an option. You have to skip workouts when you're sick, when you're severely injured, but anything other than that, really, you really need to train, because the fact is, if you don't force yourself to train, no one else is going to do it for you, and you're just going to end up missing way too many workouts and losing out on progress in the long term. I believe that training every day obviously has a diminishing return. It will probably give you about the same results as training 6 times a week or 5 times a week. But I really enjoy the consistency of the 7 days a week, because there are literally no days off. So it's partly a mental thing, partly the fact that it probably has some form of physiological impact when you train every single day without rest days. Your body knows what's coming. But more than this, more than the bullshit, it's just the daily discipline of training and knowing that you can never skip a day. And I believe that within the same time frame, if I'm training and another guy's training, I'm training a lot more days and a lot more frequently than him. And the thing there is, if we say had the same 4-month time frame, I've trained 112 times if I train 7 days a week. If he trains, say, 3 times a week, that's 16 weeks times 3, that is 48 sessions. So I've trained more than twice as much that he has, and obviously that won't give me twice the results, but it may give me 10% more results, which could make all the difference in a competitive environment. And obviously I'm not competing in anything right now. I'm purely trying to better myself, but I take that extremely seriously. So obviously that's just going to end up as competition, as if I'm training for a competition even though I'm not. Yeah, but as you can see here, I had some cramping on these, so I had to kind of hit my, I don't know if it's my hip flexor, probably it is, but the front side of my hip flexors that kind of go down into the center of the quad. I really felt those. They were cramping on every single rep, so I kind of had to just hit it. Looks really goofy, but it did hurt. Especially the fact that I had to do both legs was a pain. I was going to say a pain in the ass, but it's really a pain in the leg. Yeah, kicks in taekwondo are kind of crazy. Obviously, I don't train too often right now. Haven't trained taekwondo for 2 or 3 weeks because I had way too much to do with work. I shouldn't have taken a couple hours off today, but I did it anyway, and so that I could train. But yeah, taekwondo really uses some special muscles. I mean, you're kicking really high, often kicking above head height. And when you're drilling it, you're probably doing that a lot of times. This isn't boxing. You're not doing a 1-2 punch. You're kicking above head height, and you're doing it maybe 20 plus times per leg. And then you're doing the next kick, and then the next, and then the next. So, yeah. It's like a gun just constantly being reloaded. And when you reload a gun 10,000 times, it's going to get a bit worn down, even though you're supposed to reload it. That's just part of their game. It's going to need some repairs, and my repairs are going to be sleeping tonight. that's really all I have to say on today. I was exhausted. I really didn't want to train, but I did it anyway because I'm disciplined. And people say that motivation doesn't matter. But I will say this. I have a clear vision. I know I want to go. And I wouldn't say that I was like really feeling it necessarily. But I do want to get the results more than I want to rest. So I would say that I'm a motivated person right now. But above all else, discipline prevails. And the fact is that when you're training every day for a long period of time, and when you're training hard, and when it's getting progressively more difficult, the days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, work's getting more difficult, you're going to want to quit, obviously, but you just have to persevere. 60-something days left. We've got this. Best shape in my life already. At least when it comes to total muscle mass. Obviously, I've looked better in the past when I was shredded. But that's not what I'm training for. I'm training to be the strongest I've ever been, which I already am. So every single week that I can persevere is a big win. And if I can complete the entire program, I'll be very happy with myself. And then it'll be on to the next. But we'll get there when we get there. That's really all I have to say on today. Now, if you want to, you can watch this jump rope. It's really boring. It's, as I wrote there, grainy R footage. So it's probably uninteresting. That's all I have to say. Goodbye.